welcome to JAIIB English Medium channel. Today we'll be talking about the quick revision series for PPB. Now, as you know that from the past 2 days we are studying via this particular series, wherein we are having focused and dedicated preparation around the most expected questions, and we will be covering unit number 5 and 6 today for the same. If you are new to this channel, let me just remind you that we are having this series specifically for May 2026. And along with that, once the session is over, not only the most expected questions you will be able to understand, but also you will get the free PDF. So do not forget to share this session as much as possible. Along with that, do download the PDF once the class is over. Now let's see the questions one by one with the detailed explanation. So first question in front of us, saving bank or the current account is treated as inoperative or dormant if there are no customer induced transactions for over a dash. For over how many years? Whether it is 1 year, 2 year, 5 year or 10 year. A customer who is not operating the account is more or less dormant. For how many year? It should be like this only in order to call it as a inoperative or dormant account, whether it is 1 year, 2, 5 or 10 years. The correct answer is 2 years. Option B will be the right answer. Very simple, right? So when you talk about the inoperative accounts, the unclaimed deposits as such, the annual review of both these accounts, the type of accounts, saving bank as well as current account will be there. And when you find that no transaction for over 2 years have been done in these types of accounts, then you will categorize them as inoperative or dormant. Very, very important point. Debit as well as credit transactions induced at the instance of the customer as well as third party should be considered. Fine. Whenever the customer is paying some money in the account or withdrawing some money, that will be counted as operating the account. Fine. Service charges levied by the account by the bank should not be considered. Fine. Whenever we talk about the service charges which the bank has debited, let's suppose for ATM, the charges have been debited. Now you say that yes, service charges were debited, so one debit is there. Then interest was credited, so one credit is there. Why you are telling me that the account is inoperative? So those are not to be considered. There are instances where the customer has given a mandate for crediting interest on the term deposit to the saving bank account also. So whenever the mandate is given by the customer, then only you will be considering the particular transaction as operational transaction. Otherwise, if no such transaction is there for 2 years, you will classify the account as inoperative or dormant. Then we have banks are required to display a list of accounts on their websites that have been inoperative for at least how many years. So inoperative account you have. So the banks will club all those inoperative accounts and they will be displaying it on their website. But for how many years the account is inoperative? After 2 years it becomes inoperative. But beyond that time also, how many years is there when the bank will be displaying the list of those accounts? So 2 years, 5 years, 10 or 15 years. A very important factor here is that this particular issue is in news also. So you can expect direct question from here. Right answer is option C, that is 10 years. Okay, so when you talk about displaying the list of inoperative unclaimed deposits, here the most important part is as a proactive measure, banks are required to display on their respective website list of accounts which are inactive or inoperative for 10 years or more. Very, very important. 10 years to remember. And we talk about what? Which type of fund? That is DEF fund, right? So once the 10-year period expires, and 10-year period is done, within what time frame must the amount be credited to the DEF fund? Once the 10-year period has gone, fine, it has lapsed now. After this 10 year, how many years or months you have to wait in order to transfer the amount of this inoperative account into the DEF fund? What is the time period here after 10 years? Whether it is 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. Again, very simple one, very common one. Right answer is after 3 months only, the proceeds will move towards the DEF account, DEF fund. And the DEF fund, the full form is Depositor Education and Awareness Fund. Here you will find that the fund was established by RBI. So in 2015, RBI established this fund under the provisions of Banking Regulation Act. Now, when we talk about the timeline, which we just saw, so banks are required to transfer the credit balance in any account or any deposit in the bank, remaining unclaimed inoperative for 10 years or more to the fund. And this fund is utilized for the purpose of education only. But now comes the question that immediately after 10 years or within some time frame or even after 12 years, I can transfer the funds. The amount is credited to the fund within 3 months. Fine. Today the 10 years are completed for one inoperative account. Now within 3 months you have to go with the transaction towards the DEF. Fine. So today let's suppose on 1st of Jan 2027, 10 years are completed for one account which is inoperative. Now within 3 months. So 1st Jan till 1st Feb is 1 month, then 1st March, and then 1st April. So before 1st April 2027, you have to go for the DEF fund. This inoperative account funds will move to this DEF fund. Which rules framed in 1985 govern the nomination facilities for bank customers in India? So nomination facilities again very important for our banks, for the customers also. So which rules are governing the nomination facilities? Banking Law Amendment Rules 1985, Banking Companies Nomination Rules 1985, Safe Deposit Vault Regulation 1985, or Banking Regulations Section 45 Rule 1985. So rules 1985 are common because here 1985 is mentioned, but you have to tell me whether we are talking about the banking law, banking companies nomination, deposit vault, or for that matter the simple banking regulation rules of 1985. Right answer is nomination rules. Fine. Banking companies nomination rules 1985 tell us that how the nomination facilities will be available for the bank customers. So B will be the right answer. Okay, so Banking Regulation Act 1949 was amended by Section 37 of your Banking Law Amendment Act 1983. So Banking Regulation Act was amended via the Banking Law Amendment Act, and they ultimately introduced some new sections in your Banking Regulation Act, Section 45ZA to Section 45ZF, which provides for the nomination facilities to banks customer in respect of your deposit accounts, safe deposits, and safe vault lockers. And when we talk about these facilities which you are providing to your customers, they are governed by which rule? So the relevant rules framed by the central government with reference to the above sections are termed as Banking Companies Nomination Rules 1985. Fine. So three things are there. One, Banking Regulation Act amended by Banking Law Amendment Act. Fine. So two things these. Then the third one, the nomination rules via which we govern the overall nomination facility in a bank. Which form is used by a depositor for the cancellation of an existing nomination in a bank account? So already the nomination is there. Now the depositor wants to cancel the same, whether it is the form DA1, DA2, DA3, or DA4. What will be the right answer here? So the correct answer will be for the cancellation of nomination, it is DA2. That is option B. So these three forms, they are very important. Mark them highly important. IIBF has asked point 0.5 marker questions from them regularly. So DA1 talks about the nominations, the fresh nominations if you want to make. DA2 is for cancellation of the nomination, and DA3 for some modification, some variation you want to make. So always remember, DA1 talks about the fresh nominations, DA2 talks about the cancellation of the nomination. DA3 talks about the variations in the nominations. Now let's talk about the next topic, that is your CTS. The check truncation system has become operational in India with effect from which date? operational. Fine, always remember the keywords. When the operation started, when we started using the CTS, not the idea that is the idea came on this date or in the idea was introduced on this date. No, you need to tell me the exact date when it became operational in our country. 1st Jan 2000, 1st Feb 2008, 1st April 2010, or 15th August 2002. The right answer is option B, 1st Feb 2008. Here, the timeline is given where the RBI will introduce what? CTS, check truncation system. What is truncation? In fact, what is a truncate? To reduce the timeline, fine, to cut down some time, fine. So reducing what? The process of check clearing, the timeline for the check clearing. So it is just one interbank clearance of checks without the physical movement, which will ultimately reduce the clearing timing. The checks are paid based on the electronic images only. Suitable amendments to the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, Information Technology Act 2000, Bankers Book Evidence Act 1891 has been made, and ultimately the legal framework for check truncation and e-checks was put in place in 2002. And after 6 years, it became fully operational. It was introduced with effect from 1st Feb 2008 and now it is fully operational. So mark this highly important, the date as well as these particular acts which were amended. So NI Act, IT Act and BBE Act. What are the characteristics of CTS? So more or less you will find that the electronic images are there, and these electronic images will serve the purpose, fine, because the detail is same as it was mentioned in the physical checks. So the check truncation will happen, and you have substituted the electronic images, and you have substituted the physical checks by the electronic images. So the transfer time has reduced, and more or less the speed of the clearing has increased. Only the banks involved and the clearing house can truncate a check, fine. Only the specific bank where you have presented the check, and ultimately the clearing house which will be clearing the check, forwarding it to the collecting bank or to the paying bank, that will be involved. It reduces the time taken for realization, time taken for crediting the amount into the beneficiary's account. The paper check is kept in the custody of the bank or the clearing house. So the paper check will be where? In the collecting bank or the clearing house. And when we talk about the entire system, how it starts, see, the check deposit, the customer will be depositing a check, and the presenting bank will be there, presenting or collecting bank, whatever you want to call it. So this particular bank has primarily two functions. One will be capturing the data via one machine and storing the data, storing the checks in a common warehouse where the physical checks will be stored. After that, once you capture the data, you will be sending the data to the clearing house, which will ultimately provide the images to the drawee bank, and the drawee bank will be crediting the account of the final beneficiary. Right? So that is how the entire process moves in the check truncation system. Also, when we talk about the grid system, fine, the clearing houses, as we know here, the clearing houses are different for different locations in our bank. It is not a unified clearing house. So CTS is operated on grid basis, dividing the country into three grids. You have northern grid, western grid, and southern grid. All have separate clearing house. Northern grid in Delhi, western grid Mumbai, southern grid has a clearing house in Chennai. Checks pertaining to all the cities or the centers in these grids are presented to the respective clearing house through a service branch of the bank, of the respective bank. Fine. So very, very important. You must remember, in India, the clearing houses are present at different locations. Now comes the question that states which three images are required for a single check under the CTS process in India. So if you are presenting a check, and that particular check is to be converted into electronic image, what type of image are we looking into? Whether the images are of colored uh, nature, fine, the colored images are there, or black and white images are there, or some grayscale images there, like that. So front color, front grayscale, back grayscale. No, we are not talking about the colored images at all. Front grayscale, front black and white, and back black and white. Yes, B is the right answer. Front color, again, color is not at all there. Front grayscale, back grayscale, back black and white. No, back only black and white is there. Front we have the in the front you have to take both the grayscale as well as the black. Fine. So D is also wrong. B will be the right answer here. Okay. CTS ultimately it is used in India and via the combination of grayscale and the black and white images. Three images will be taken: front grayscale, back black and white, and your front also black and white. Fine. So one check is there. This is a check supposingly. It has two phases. Phase one, the front, and the phase two, that is the second phase, you can say, the back. So the first or the front of a check will be having two images via this particular scanner. First image will be in the grayscale and the second image will be in the black and white. For the back, that is the second phase, it is only the black and white image we take. Okay, so that is how you should remember. Images of the checks are taken using specific scanners. These are those scanners. There is a rigorous quality check process also with the image quality assessment at different levels. So we will ensure that image quality is intact. Okay. So yes, this was it for the questions. We will be solving one more question, one very, very important question also in the end. But before that, let me just remind all of you who are new to this channel that we are covering the uh, syllabus of your JAIIB examination via this revision series. And the timetable is like this: from Monday till Saturday, you will have the classes from 6 p.m. Then 6:30 we have IFS, 7 p.m. RBWM, 7:30 PPB. All these classes are free of cost. You have to just subscribe to our channel. Fine, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that all the notification of these classes are there in front of you in your devices. Along with that, if you have any doubt, any kind of issue which you are facing in your preparation, feel free to call us on the number 0981 981 9247. If you want any kind of guidance, or for that matter, any type of query you have regarding our paid classes, fine, this is the dedicated helpline number. For all of you, let me just give you one information that this particular revision series which is on YouTube, it is just for your revision. But if you want concepts, if you want the notes of those concepts, if you want the in-depth discussion of these concepts, then you must join the paid classes also, because there we actually lay the foundation via which you will be able to solve these types of questions. And if you are interested in the paid classes, you have made up your mind that yes, this is the course which I am going to buy, then just apply this discount code for more discounts. That is Y1003. This is your go-to discount code. Okay. Now let's see the another question, but before that, let me just give you one reference of the RBI circular. 13th August 2025, RBI issues this circular of your continuous clearing and settlement. And when we talk about CTS, it is more or less what? The check truncation system. One improved version of CTS is your check continuous clearing system, wherein no limitation whatsoever will be there. More speedy clearance of the check will be there. Fine. So more or less, whenever we talk about such type of amendments, they are very important for our exam, because till December 2025, we have to remember such type of amendments. So what are the revised timings for the check presentation and confirmation sessions under the modified phase 1 guidelines? So RBI has given you the two phases. First phase has been implemented, wherein within 1 day we will be clearing the check. That is the ultimate goal. And the second phase was supposed to be implemented from January 2026, but now it has been deferred. So nonetheless, phase one guidelines which are in place right now in the banks, you have to tell me the revised timings for the check presentation and confirmation. So what will be the right answer? 9 a.m. in the morning, fine, till 3 p.m. is the presentation time. Confirmation till 7 p.m. So the right answer is option B. Presentation 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Confirmation 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Fine. So yes, that's how you should approach this examination, this particular question also, or for that matter, the entire PPB exam, wherein the current events are also included in your study material. So checks are scanned now and processed throughout the day, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mandatory confirmation should be by 7 p.m. or within the 3 hours, which will be implemented in the phase two. Right now, so we have confirmation by 7 p.m. But once the phase two is implemented, within 3 hours, you will have the confirmation. The timing of the presentation session is 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Confirmation timing is 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And for your information, let me just again reiterate, the phase two implementation has been postponed by the RBI. Let's see when it will be coming back with the revised guidelines. Fine. So yes, these are the timings which you should remember, and these provide you some additional window, some additional time for the greater operational flexibility and ultimately serving the customers in a much better manner. The efficiency for the banks will also improve. Okay, so this was it for today's class. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask me in the comment section. And for more details, do not forget to call us on the number 0981